Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Warm Wasabi in the Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, "I caught my wife cheating, I'm divorcing her. So I, 38M, caught my wife, 31F, cheating on me with a work colleague. I never saw it coming. It has absolutely devastated me. I gave my heart and soul to this woman. I felt like she was my soulmate, and now I feel like I was just tossed aside after 10 years of marriage. My wife was someone to me who had courage, strength, and integrity, or so I thought. These values are what really attracted me to her. And now I don't think I even know this person anymore. She completely denies cheating and her affair, and it hurts that she can't be honest with me. I gave up so much to be with her. I moved to a new continent to be with her, gave up my career, my family, friends, and now I am all alone in a foreign country. One could say maybe it was something that I did, but I was a really good husband, loving, caring. Her family had major issues, and I would help out where I could to support both her family and her. I encouraged her to further her education. I put her through college and beauty school to encourage her talents. Most of all, though, I just loved her. I cared for her well-being. When she had bad days at work, family, I was there to support her. I trusted her completely. I wasn't a perfect husband, but I did my best. I never screamed, shouted, abused her in any way, shape, or form. Never stepped out on her either. I came from a broken home, and my father was the worst person to me and my mom. So I made it my life's mission to be better and nothing like him. The last 6 months in our relationship have been rough. I could feel her pushing me out of her life. She never had time for me and was never home, out with her friends, or some event that I wasn't invited to, work trips. I was working 5 days a week, doing the chores around the house where I could, just so we could spend more time with one another. Eventually, I had a breakdown and said I think we should seek couples counseling. She turned the entire thing on me about my insecurity, lied about events, and gaslighted me to the point where I was doubting myself. I took it in my stride and saw a therapist. She went on a work trip a few weeks after the counseling, and a week later, I found evidence of an affair. Called a private eye to get me some more information. Got what I needed to confirm everything. So we have applied for the divorce. I just want to get on with my life. But where to from here? I feel like I could never love anyone the same way. I feel jaded by the whole thing. And all I have are questions that I want answered. How long has this been going on? Were there others? What made her do it? What changed the way she saw me? I wouldn't wish this feeling upon anyone, not even my worst enemies. This is a scar so deep. I'm at the stage where I'm trying to move on, moving to my own place. But where to from there? I'm going to throw myself back into hobbies that I once did before I got married and exercising and getting out to meet people because I have no one here. She was my world. But what's next? How do I love again? How do I go about moving on without hurting someone who cares for me because I couldn't let go of this pain? How have others recovered? I resolved to never take her back, cutting off communication after the divorce to her and her family. Life is too short to be with a liar and a cheat. Advice for anyone. Look at your accounts weekly. Keep a diary of you and your partner's daily plans. It's all there, but sometimes we are just naive in our trust. Thanks for reading. Edit, I just want to thank everyone for the love and support. The way I have felt until today is lost and completely alone, and now I know I am not. You all have really saved me. The gaslighting was an immediate red flag and should tell you enough of what kind of woman OP is dealing with. Any reasonable partner would try and support their other half if they are having any level of doubt. But in this case, OP's partner simply tries to pivot any responsibility off of herself and blame OP. This man sacrificed so much to be with his wife and provide for her, just to have his wife figuratively spit in his face. I hope that one day he can find someone who is grateful to him and can help him heal. User World Class said, wasn't married but caught my ex in the act. I was shocked and my only question was why. All she could say was gaslight me about how things have been bad in the relationship lately and how it's my fault she ended up cheating. Picked up my stuff and left. Never looked back. The next relationship was pretty bad because of constant paranoia about being cheated on, and I had doubts where there was no reason. I ended things to sort out my head. I have been dating this girl for a few months and have totally fallen for her. She has been honest with me about her ex, reaching out to her, etc. It was very hard for me to take and not to start growing doubts again, but now I have sorted my mind, and the only advice I can give to you for the next relationship: leave all this shit in the past and try your best to start from scratch, trusting people. Being cheated on can be a lesson, but for me, it was a curse. P.S. It took me a year to get back to decent self-esteem, but working out and focusing on yourself did the magic. And also, time. User Not Too Hot Wheels said, reading your post sent shivers down my spine. I went exactly through what you went, was a dedicated husband, supported my wife for studies, and then this happened. I have nothing much to offer you except a hug. The thing I've learned through this is that you are much more than what you make yourself believe. The initial days would be tough. Just keep pushing yourself out of bed. Do chores even if you feel this gut-wrenching pain. Stay near to friends and family if it's possible. Cut off from her in every way possible. Take it one day at a time, pick yourself up, and the world will make things fall your way. Godspeed. User Blown Away said, I went through something similar, not quite the same story except for the fact that she was cheating, and although I had evidence, she never fessed up to things. It's now nearly 2 decades later, and I thank heavens that we are no longer together. I'm now happily married for over a decade with a great wife and great kids, so there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Much of your wife's behavior over the last 6 months was how my wife behaved during the last months of our relationship. Once I learned the truth, everything clicked, but not just about those 6 months, about other moments from our relationship that didn't jive completely, or at least didn't allow me to feel completely safe and secure within the relationship and in my ability to be able to express myself without fear of some sort of backlash from her. I bet if you truly examine the entirety of your relationship, you will see the same things. That being said, now is the time to do you. Will you trust again? Yes, the same way. I hope not. I hope you learn to trust yourself better and to now recognize the signs of a relationship uncoupling and not allow a future partner to play you as she did. Their behavior is very predictable. Read the book Uncoupling: Turning Points in Intimate Relationships, and it'll give you a better perspective of things. Yes, you will be forever changed because of this. That doesn't have to be a bad thing. I never would have guessed something like this would ever happen to me, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But the universe does have a way of working out if we allow it to help us out along the way. She did you a favor. You'll only recognize it in retrospect. I wish you well. This next story was made in the Off My Chest subreddit by a now deleted user. The post is titled, I lost my virginity to my dad's best friend. I, 47F, lost my virginity to my dad's best friend Andy when I was 20. At the time, he was around 40. Andy was an amazing guy. He could tell a story that kept you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end, or make you snort with laughter for hours. I was living with my parents and commuting to college. My parents were going through a rough patch, so Andy came over a lot to drink with my dad in the basement and listen to him whine about my mom. My original bedroom had been turned into a sewing room for my mom after I finished HS, so I slept in the extra room in the basement. That meant I saw a lot of Andy. My dad frequently passed out in his chair, and Andy would come hang out in my room with me. The night it happened was basically the same as any other night we hung out. Something caused the mood to change, and next thing I know, we're going at it in my bed. It was incredible. He was so gentle and mindful of my needs. It was perfect for my first time. We had sex a lot after that. We would sometimes meet somewhere else, but it was usually in my room after my dad fell asleep. I absolutely fell in love with this man. I knew we could never actually be together, but I couldn't stop myself either. We stopped having sex after about 2 years. He met someone closer to him in age. She had no desire to have kids like him. I wanted kids, which was a major reason a real relationship never happened. Andy died when I was 34. I was devastated because a part of me never stopped loving him. My dad couldn't understand why I could barely function for about a week. I couldn't tell him the truth. I knew he'd be furious, and I didn't want to ruin his memories of Andy. I found some pictures of him in the back of my dad's closet while we were packing up for him to move. They were from around the same time frame he took my virginity. Andy's been gone so long, but seeing those pictures felt like reopening the wound. I guess I'll never really get over his death completely. I'm married now with 3 amazing children, and I'm happy. But they say you never forget your first time, and I'll never forget that wonderful man. Edit. I initiated things the first time we had sex. We were being flirty and I kissed him. I also did some other things that made it clear what I wanted. User Ethiopian Bosun said, I don't know if that is reckless or brave of Andy to screw his friend's young daughter in her father's house, while the father was there in the house, and on top of that on multiple occasions, and on top of that your father knew Andy was in the house, because you said you guys would hook up after your father fell asleep, which happened after he would be hanging out with Andy in the house. That is wild to me. I know you guys stopped having sex after 2 years, but did you guys still keep in contact to a certain extent? I am sorry for your loss. What was it about Andy that you were attracted to other than the fact that he was funny? I know you said you are happy, but if a magical genie approached you and said he could rewrite your history so that you were with Andy and had kids with him, would you take that deal? Also, assuming the genie could prevent his death. Under this comment, OP said the following. A lot of questions here, so I'll try to answer them one by one. I moved away after I graduated college and ended things since there was no real future with Andy. We did keep in touch by text and email, and I'd see him at events or hanging out with my dad when I went back there. Our contact decreased to basically birthday and holiday well wishes after he got serious with his future wife. The biggest thing that attracted me to Andy was his charisma and kindness, but I won't lie and say his looks had nothing to do with it. User Lightless Meow said, not here to judge you or anything, but curious to get your perspective now that you have surpassed Andy's age when he was with you. How would you feel if you found out a close friend of you or your husband was having sex with one of your kids, assuming they are of age? Would you ever consider sleeping with a close friend's child? If not, then why not? OP made the following response under this comment. Now that I'm a parent, I would go ballistic on anyone trying to sleep with my kid, but I'm biased on that front. If it were someone else's 20-year-old son or daughter, my bias would lean the other way, since I was in the kid's position. It's a hypocritical stance, but most parents are more protective of their own children. I would never sleep with someone around 20, assuming I'm single, because I don't feel like I have anything in common with most of them. Me wanting kids and Andy not wanting kids was a major reason things ended, since there was no future for us. User NoCod said, that wasn't your dad's best friend. A best friend wouldn't do that with his best friend's child. User Grey Kokoro said, this is one of those posts where I'd like to be supportive and the best way to do it right now would be to upvote and move on with my life, but I can't. All due respect, but if I was your dad, no one would have ever seen that guy again. In fact, after reading this post, I feel bad for your dad. This final story was made in the same subreddit by a user named Junior Shoulder. The post is titled, I've been a pediatric ER nurse for 10 years. I'm at my breaking point. To all the parents who scream at us for simply doing our job, screw you. Your children deserve better than you. I can't do it anymore. I'm tired of getting screamed at. I'm tired of people looking at me like I'm a villain. We had a mother bring her kid into our ER for a loose tooth that was painful. It was a Monday night. The nurses, doctors, ER technicians, and nursing assistants were all running our asses off, trying to keep everyone happy due to the 2-hour wait. The mother then proceeds to call me a C-word because little Timmy was tired and hungry. Little did she know we had a dead 2-year-old in room 4, and 2 GSWs in trauma rooms 2 and 3, and all of the other 44 rooms were full. I set up a private booth for her and her child, and brought her child snacks and a drink. But I'm a C-word. To the parents who scream at us because the doctors prescribe an IV for your child, f you. You decided to bring your child in for a runny nose. If we're traumatizing your child that bad, then leave. Go. To the parents who call us names for not answering the call light within 30 seconds because we're dealing with seizing children or cardiac arrests down the hall, F you. To the mother who said she was going to sue me for murder for not giving her child any more Tylenol. F you. Your child was maxed out on both Motrin and Tylenol. To the parents who treat the ER like it's a hotel. F you. We don't have a full kitchen with chefs and waiters. It's not our fault you didn't feed your kids before arriving. And to the mother who threw the juice box at the wall next to me because it wasn't sugar-free. F you. I hate you. Your child wasn't even my patient. Your kid called the nurse's station saying he was thirsty. I just wanted to cure your son's thirst. I've been called names. I've been pushed, shoved, and video recorded against my will. I've had creepy dads send me nudes over Facebook after finding out my last name. I've been doing this job for 10 years. It has become unbearable since COVID. These parents think they can do or say whatever they want. But I'm done. The ER staff is dropping like flies. I took this job in the hopes of saving lives and protecting these kids. I want to bring joy to them in these scary times. I want to alleviate their pain and suffering, but I'm done. I'm tapping out. I'm done crying myself to sleep at night. User Niku Lee said, I'm so sorry. I am a school secretary, and while my job is absolutely nothing compared to yours when it comes to stress, I can absolutely agree. Parents have lost their minds since COVID. I adored my middle school front office job, and not to be arrogant, but I was really good at it. I left. I'm in the library now. I don't get to be as involved, but I'm not being threatened with physical violence on a daily basis anymore either. Another named Lord Kazakaj said, I'm at a loss for words. Sending hugs. I'm so sorry that you're having to deal with this shit. I just had surgery on Friday and I had to stay overnight. I literally asked to go home because it was a skeleton crew. The nurse I had ended up needing to go to the emergency. I could see that she was deteriorating, so when my pain meds wore off, I didn't call because I told her to go. I didn't want to risk her responding, so I waited as long as I could to make sure that she was gone. They were short-staffed. I've always given props to nurses. However, after being a patient, I hold nurses in high reverence. You're the ones in the trenches. Reading your story not only pissed me off on your behalf, but it illustrates why hospitals are short-staffed. I know that nurses are criminally underpaid for what you do, and no amount of money is worth the abuse. I feel like I need to apologize for their behavior, and I don't blame you for being done.